So mindfulness doesn't happen by chance. The elusive, serendipitous moment that we get to experience every once in a while of connection or joy, those moments can occur and unfold hundreds of times a day if we are mindful about it. I want to talk to you about this concept of serendipity or random connections, that you've ever had those random connections with people where you walk away and you're like, wow, that was a complete stranger and I just got filled up, or I learned something new, or I saw the world through a different perspective, and it took less than 30 seconds and wow, we know that we get filled up from that connection. And so this is a really lush, delicious place to play in, but we do it so haphazardly, so serendipitously, so messy, because we're not taught how to get into the underbelly, really, of communication. And that's what being present and mindful, that's what gets you to those places, you guys, where we know communication is not the thought I think in my head and the words I spit out through my mouth. That's just such a tiny little sliver. 80 to 90% of communication is feeling that ebb and flow and connecting to that person and reading their facial expressions and dropping into the present moment and holding that space for them and really connecting. That's communication. And when you can get that, you guys, the serendipitous, random happenstance moments of joy and connection that happen no longer are these elusive lightning strike moments. If you can get yourself primed and use these tools to play in this land, so that 100 times a day you have the ability to see, play with, interact with, learn from these what we think are random serendipitous moments. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, you guys. Whether you're connecting in the bedroom, or you're connecting in the business world, or you're connecting on a peripheral, kind of a casual connection, or it's a deep, intimate, sexual connection, it's the same thing. They're the same concepts. So you can work this in all these areas, play in all those areas. And so if you're not ready to go quite here with your and open up that space there, then start up here and start playing in this realm, because you guys, we are in this realm 80% of the time, at work, away from our house, out interacting with the world, than we are here in this intimate land. So why not take this and go, oh, that's 80% of my day I can play in. I have the potentiality for play in over here. I firmly, after playing in this land and just enjoying it and soaking it in, understand that you can actually prime yourself to play in this area, so it's not like this wobbly lightning strikes kind of connection, so that throughout your day after day, those connections and interactions fills your cup up and gives you energy, and it makes your day. And you come home and you share it with your partner. You're like, oh my gosh, I had this great conversation. I learned this cool new thing today, or I connected with this person. If we can get primed, we will see the filters will come off, the fear and the doubt and all the other filters and the roles. When we can learn to get primed in these states, those kind of slip away, and we see that there are these serendipitous moments, or these moments of chances, connections all around us. We're just not living in that lush, rich playground to see them. And so I'm going to give you some ways that you can start to think about, how could I get into this place and start to play with this concept of enriching my connections and juicing them. First of all, we need to be able to lay our ego down so we can have authenticity, because those moments never happen without you being at least authentic or clean on your end. And oftentimes when you land and get authentic on your end and hold that space, that's what gives them the subtle, you guys, communication isn't this with our mouth and our thoughts. It's this, it's energy, it's connection, it's holding that space for them so that they don't even feel energetically, but their nervous system drops down and out of fight or flight. Your nervous systems drop down out of fight or flight. You feel that moment of entry point for connection, to commune with that other person in a really authentic, honest way. So if you can just hold the space in you, oftentimes I found that by me just anchoring in and holding the space in me, you're really, that is true about the heart center. Like, it has the ability to entrain. There's an electromagnetic field around the heart center. Call it what you want. If you want to call that hooey or that, but when your nervous system is calm, all your facial expressions change. They see that. That's what we do. We've done for thousands of years, you guys. We've even trained dogs to see our facial expressions and to see and read those. You're playing in this is what's so cool about this. We're getting out of here and out of the mouth what we say in communication and what we think about communication. We're getting into the subtle nuances, the energy of the communication. And so when you can hold that space in you, again, it's like I talk to people about practicing Tantra or conscious sexuality or connection, and it has nothing to do with your partner. You don't change them, you can't change them, don't even bother about them. It's here. Holding the space in yourself, and then you find that when you hold the space there, it eventually gets big enough that you can hold the space for other people around you, and then they drop in and you're like, oh, there you are, I see you. And then I interact and get out of that connection and communication the most beautiful thing that the moment could have presented to us, instead of this, ooh, that was awkward, and I felt like there might have been a potentiality there, or I didn't even see it. I was completely, half the time we're just oblivious to what that potentiality and that connection could have been. So the first thing that you want to do is start being mindful and getting more in states and practices of mindfulness off your yoga mat, off your meditation mat, out in everyday life, just being mindful. And being mindful really, you guys, just entails two things. Paying attention to what's unfolding around you in real time. Just paying attention to what's unfolding around you. And then playing with it, interacting with it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. So that's the second thing. The first thing is you gotta get present and mindful, hold that space. And the second thing is just play. And it's wobbly and it's messy because we're talking about, the nonverbal, the subtle, the energy. We're talking about a messy concept that we don't often think about. Communication is. We all know that 80 to 90% of it is nonverbal, is not constructs of our thoughts that come out of our mouth and get interjected. It's really 80 to 90% of it is that. And so it is going to be wobbly and messy. So you're going to say things and you might be like, oh, I can't believe I just said that. Or, oh, because we're pushing and testing the boundaries of what communication can be. And in this day and age with, politically correctness and all this other tit for tatting, so it's wobbly practice, and it's a messy human practice, but it's a beautiful practice. So give yourself room to play in it, and think of it as playful, and approach it in like a childlike, lay your ego down kind of way. Let go of the judgment. Don't second guess yourself. Don't doubt yourself. I mean, we all do it, and you're going to do it, but don't, when you find yourself going, oh, I shouldn't have said that, or oh, I missed that opportunity, or oh, whatever it is, when you find yourself in those moments, just know, oh, but that's okay. I'm playing in this land, and you see it, and you don't judge it, and you lay your ego down. And one of the best ways I found when I'm connecting with another human being is I drop in and get present, and get in that deep state of present moment and mindfulness. But if you are still learning to play in that land until you get deep in those practices, is just to be grateful. Have a practice of gratitude. And it can be every day, in any moment that you can find a sense of gratitude. Simplest thing is just closing your eyes and just thinking of one thing you're grateful for, like truly, honestly, that enriches your life, that brings you joy or love or anything to your life. And it can be as simple as I walk to the wall and I flip a switch and the lights come on, and I walk to the sink and I turn the faucet on and running water comes out. And for so many millions of people that doesn't happen. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for my dog, or I'm grateful for my lover, anything, any moment of gratitude, because gratitude and ego cannot hold the same space. So if you can come into a state of gratitude before you connect to that other person, then your ego drops out of the equation and you're just like, wow, I'm grateful. There's a moment in front of me that is about to unfold, and if I stay present and I stay saturated, something magical might happen. Something akin to flow and authenticity might happen. And it may enrich my life, and it may enrich their life. And the last thing I would say is, don't have any expectations. We have so many expectations, and we communicate with each other in these modes of tit for tat. Of if I'm going to have this conversation and waste this much time with this person, or if I feel like I'm stuck here, then you are wondering, what am I getting out of it? And it's this: they're talking, and then you're talking, and you can't wait for them to shut up so you can interject, and it's this tit for tat. And it not only happens in our regular interactions. When that's happening, this is going on. It happens in the bedroom as well, when we're all up in our heads thinking, oh, I've got to do this, and I've got to please him in this way, and I need to arch my back this way, and what am I wearing, and and he's thinking the same thing, and you're thinking the same thing, or she, or whoever your partner is, but your partner's thinking the same thing, and you're thinking the same, and then these intimate interactions become this tit for tat. Rather than, this is what I want you to do, is flip this switch in your brain and go, when I connect with that person, I want it to be an ebb and a flow. So there's a giving and there's a receiving. So when they're giving that information, you're soaking it in, you're receiving it in. You're not going, oh, when are they going to shut up? You're just soaking it in, and you're playing with it, and you're letting it drop into your body. And then you come to this authentic point in yourself where you're like, okay, and then you give back and they receive. It's playing this resistant edge of resilience, they call it, and you've experienced it in touch. We've all experienced that, where you come in for a kiss or a hug, and there's a little bit of like, you lean into them, and there's a little bit of resistance back, literal physical resistance, but also a give at the same time, and it's that give and take. When you've had a really good kiss or a really good hug, juxtaposition to that awkward hug that you come in, it's like, ooh, there was something off there, And so start to think about your interactions instead of, what am I getting out of this interaction? Instead of that, start to think, yeah, I'm stuck here, and I'm in the line at the bank, and you know what? I'm here. So why not drop in, be present, open myself to the moment, and see what unfolds. When we connect to somebody in that state of gratitude, or when we connect to somebody that's grounded and present, we will see the world through a whole different lens. So again, this is all about you. This is your connections. Whatever comes out in your connections, or however they are, they're all about you and the space you hold, and how you approach that present moment, approach that person, approach that sexual interaction, approach that. So I hope you get a chance this week to mold that around in your being, and if you have any feedback or comments or questions, feel free to ask. And thanks for playing with me, and thanks for going on this journey with me. Namaste.